In a world full of uncertainty and emotional upheaval, how often do we feel overwhelmed by the chaos of daily life? The fast-paced and stressful nature of modern life can make peace and stability seem like far-off dreams. But what if there were ancient principles that could help us through this chaos, giving us not only comfort but also a deep change in how we deal with life's challenges? Stoicism is a philosophy that comes from the calm and wise writings of Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus. These philosophers didn't just think about abstract ideas. They also gave people useful ways to deal with their feelings when things go wrong. Remember that you control your mind, not the things that happen to you. If you understand this, you will find strength stated. This quote by Marcus Aurelius sums up the essence of Stoic empowerment. But what does it mean to become emotionally insensitive? According to Stoic principles, it's not about numbing our feelings or putting up walls around our hearts. Instead, it's about developing a strong spirit and a refined way of dealing with our emotions so that we are no longer slaves to our immediate reactions, but masters of our own inner world. How can we use these timeless truths to deal with the complicated emotions of today? What insights from these ancient sages can help us achieve not just short-term calm, but lasting emotional resilience and clarity? Join us as we look at the 10 Stoic rules for life. Each one gives us a step toward controlling our emotions and living a peaceful, meaningful life. But before we start, I have a small challenge for you. Stay with us until the end of the journey and don't miss any of the milestones. Each milestone and lesson has valuable information that will help you live a more fulfilling life. Let's find out about rule number 1. Distinguish between controllables and uncontrollables. When you understand the theory of Stoicism, the line between what we can control and what we can't is a key part of being emotionally strong. Epictetus, a Stoic philosopher, put this knowledge into his advice: some things we can change, but not all of them. This principle tells us to look closely at our worries and focus on our own choices and actions, instead of worrying about what's going on in other people's lives. If you're late for an important meeting because of a sudden traffic jam, your first instinct might be to get angry or stressed. But if you practice Stoicism, you might change your focus from being angry or stressed about the traffic to something you can control, like mentally going over your meeting points or relaxing with some music. This change not only relieves your stress but also gives you the power to make the best of the situation. Marcus Aurelius, another famous Stoic, has a powerful thought on this subject. You control your mind, not what happens in the outside world. Understand this, and you will find strength in his words. Support the Stoic idea that real resolve comes from inner strength, not from things happening around you. Now think back to the last time something bad happened to you. How did you deal with it? Did you focus on the things you couldn't change? Or were you able to shift your attention to things you could change? Thinking about these kinds of questions can be a life-changing experience that helps us understand how much of our unhappiness comes from fighting things we can't change. This Stoic teaching goes beyond just ignoring or stifling our emotions. It leads to a deep understanding that emotional stability comes from knowing what we can really control. It's not about controlling chaos in the outside world. It's about controlling our own reactions and turning chaos into tranquility. Adopting this principle frees us from the controllable and lets us live with purposeful presence and deliberate calmness. Rule number 2. Embrace challenges as opportunities. The Stoic path to personal growth sees every challenge not as an issue, but as a necessary chance to grow. This way of looking at things changes how we deal with life's problems, making each one into a chance to improve our character and virtues. Stoicism teaches us to use problems like a sailboat's wind to move forward, instead of letting them stop us. For example, think about Thomas Edison and his never-ending experiments with the electric light bulb. He had thousands of failures, which were tough problems, but he famously saw them not as failures but as thousands of ways that did not work, each one bringing him closer to success. He is persistent and sees problems in a positive light, which is in line with the Stoic idea of turning problems into chances. How often do we approach problems with the same mindset? Can we, like Edison, see our setbacks as important steps on the way to success? As the Stoic philosopher Seneca once said, The greater the difficulty, the greater the glory in surmounting it. Pilots get their name from being good in storms and tempests. This quote tells us, to see every challenge as a chance to show how strong and determined we are. It's an invitation to not only endure hardships, but also use them to your advantage and find inner peace. Following this rule is important for both living a peaceful and successful life and developing happiness that lasts no matter what happens in the outside world. It makes us think about how we can use this Stoic practice in our everyday lives, and whether we are ready to turn the next challenge into our biggest chance. This Stoic view of life asks us to rethink how we react to problems. If we do this, we can turn our worst experiences into our greatest triumphs, living a life not just of surviving, but also of thriving. This is what emotional resilience is all about, looking past the immediate discomfort and seeing the growth that lies in every challenge. There will always be problems in life and at work. Seeing these problems as chances to learn and grow, on the other hand, can change how we deal with them. When we accept challenges, we have to change our attitude from one of fear and avoidance to one of curiosity and strength. This way of doing things not only helps people grow as people, but it also leads to new ideas and success. Change the way you see things. Instead of seeing problems as impossible to solve, see them as chances to learn and grow. If a job at work gets really tough, look at it as a chance to learn new things and show what you can do. Build up your resilience. Taking on challenges takes strength. Face problems head on and learn from them to develop this trait. If you keep failing, figure out what went wrong, change your plan, and try again with more drive. Have a growth mindset. A growth mindset is the idea that you can get smarter and better at things if you work hard and are dedicated. It's better to see problems as opportunities to get better than as problems that need to be solved. Look for chances when things go wrong. It's often the hardest events that lead to the most important chances. When things are bad, look for the bright side. When the economy is bad, companies may look for ways to improve their processes and come up with new ideas, which can help them be more successful in the long run. Learn all the time. Challenges should be used to keep learning and getting better. Every task can help you learn new things and get better at the ones you already know. When you're done with a difficult job, think about what you learned and how you can use what you've learned in the future. Seeing problems as chances to learn and grow is a powerful way of thinking that can help you in both your personal and work life. You can turn problems into opportunities for growth by changing your viewpoint, becoming more resilient, adopting a growth mindset, looking for chances when things go wrong, and making a promise to keep learning. This way of thinking not only helps people get through tough times, but it also leads to new ideas, better problem-solving skills, and a happier life overall. Rule number 3, act with virtue. A+. Quality withers, who didn't have an opponent, announced Seneca, stressing that real virtue isn't just thinking right, but also acting right in the face of everyday problems. Stoicism puts a lot of weight on living by virtue, which means that the most important thing about a good life is not what happens to us, but how we act morally and ethically. When you act with virtue, you always make decisions that are in line with ideals like fairness, courage, wisdom, and moderation. Think of Mandela, who after 27 years in jail chose peace over revenge. Revenge's choice to work for peace and forget those who hurt him is a great example of Stoic virtue in action. The Stoic view that our character is the only thing we truly own, and the major source of our happiness can be seen in Mandela's actions. How many times do we have to make a choice when the right one is obvious but the easy one looks better? Stoicism teaches us that every choice we make can either make us stronger or weaker as people. Marcus Aurelius said, "Don't waste time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." This direct call to action serves as a reminder that virtue is shown through actions, not words. Now think about your own life. When was the last time you did something just because it was the right thing to do? Was it hard? Did it make you feel good to know you did the right thing? Please share your thoughts and experiences in the comments section below. Let's talk about how the pursuit of virtue has changed your life, and how it might lead us to a more peaceful, happy, and successful one. This Stoic rule to act with virtue is not just about being moral for its own sake. It's about making sure that every choice we make reflects the best of who we are and who we want to be, leaving a legacy of honesty and respect. Be ready for anything. Have you ever planned something and then it didn't work out? Stoicism teaches us to add a reserved clause to our expectations. This is a mental reminder that we can say, "I will do this." Adding this to our plans is not about expecting failure, but about getting ready for the unpredictable nature of life, which helps us stay calm when things don't go as planned. This idea is very clear, shown in the area of space exploration, where careful plans often run into problems that are out of their control. Think about a satellite launch that is delayed because of sudden bad weather. The engineers and scientists involved use reserved clauses all the time in their planning because they know that things they can't control may happen. The wise Epictetus told them that people who are ready to change and adapt keep their projects on track without giving up in despair or anger. Your life will go well if you don't try to make things happen the way you want them to. Instead, just accept things as they are. His lessons tell us to make sure that our wants and needs are in line with reality and to change our expectations to account for the unexpected. How often do you set goals with rigid expectations? What would happen in your life if you started planning with the idea that things might go as planned? Adopting this Stoic rule can change how we deal with failure and success, leading to a life full of flexibility and resilience. As you think about this, think about how you could use the reserved clause in your daily life. It could be as simple as planning a picnic knowing that it might rain, or planning another fun activity. Marcus Aurelius rightly pointed out that this practice builds strong emotional resilience, which means that our peace doesn't depend on perfect conditions, but is a constant in a world that is always changing. Take whatever comes your way because it's part of your destiny and what will best meet your wants. This way of thinking can help you live a happier, more successful life. Rule number 5. Practice mindfulness. In this fast-paced world, how often do we take a moment to live in the present? Socrates tells us to be mindful, which means being fully present and aware of our thoughts, feelings, and actions, as well as our surroundings. This Stoic discipline helps us connect with life more deeply by making sure that our responses are in line with our values instead of being based on short-lived urges. For example, the way that high-performance athletes use mindfulness to help them concentrate during tournaments. For example, a marathon runner might concentrate very hard on her breathing, the rhythm of her stride, and her immediate surroundings in order to stay at the top of her game and not be distracted by the crowd or other runners. This level of mindfulness helps her do her best while staying in the present. Seneca, a Stoic philosopher, said that the only way to be truly happy is to enjoy the present without worrying about what will happen in the future. Stoics believe that peace comes from living fully in the present and not being stressed out about the future or worries about the past. How often do you get lost in thoughts of the past or the future? What would be different if you paid more attention to the present? By practicing mindfulness, we can lower our stress and make daily chores more enjoyable and effective. Start applying this Stoic rule to your life by paying attention to the little things that happen and people you meet. Start with something easy like eating or going for a walk and really focus on that. This practice of mindfulness will not only make your life more clear and peaceful, but it will also lead you to a path of happiness, success, and peace. We become more aware of our current situation and surroundings when we practice mindfulness. This makes us more emotionally strong and helps us handle life with grace and poise. If you have learned this lesson before getting to rule number 6, I want to thank you for sticking with me. Your presence here shows that you are determined to practice and implement Stoic strategies to become more valuable. Now let's move on to the last 5 rules of today's journey. Rule number 6, self-reflection. When did we last stop to think about what we did and how it affected our lives and the lives of those around us. Stoicism stresses how important it is to be able to critically think on our own actions and motivations so that they are more in line with our core values. Take the case of Emily, a young musician with a lot of ability. Emily listens to recordings of herself after every performance, not just to hear the notes she played, but also to understand her stage presence and the emotional connection she made with her audience. This regular self-evaluation helps her keep improving her skills and expressiveness, which helps her grow as an artist and as a person. In his works, Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, pushed for this practice. If you look inside, you'll find the fountain of goodness. It will always bubble up if you dig his thoughts. Stress the Stoic idea that thinking about oneself is a source of virtue and personal growth. Think about your own life. When was the last time you stopped to think about the things you do every day? How might this kind of thinking about yourself change how you deal with tomorrow? Taking the time to reflect on ourselves every day can change how we deal with problems, improve our relationships, and make us happier generally. It's not enough to just criticize ourselves. We need to learn more about who we are and how we can improve. Thrive. This Stoic practice of self-reflection makes sure that we don't just respond, but also live with purpose and make choices that are in line with our deepest values. This is why self-reflection encourages strong emotional strength, pointing us toward a life not marked by apathy, but by deeper knowledge and purposeful growth. Self-reflection is a powerful exercise that helps you learn more about yourself by looking at your thoughts, feelings, and actions. It means making a conscious effort to think about your own feelings, actions, and experiences. This process of thinking about yourself can help you grow as a person, become more emotionally intelligent, and make better decisions. People can live a more fulfilling and true life by regularly reflecting on their own actions and how they relate to their ideals and goals. Know why you should reflect on yourself. Self-reflection is a way to learn more about your feelings, thoughts, and actions. It helps you grow as a person by letting you learn from mistakes and do better things in the future. Knowing why you're reflecting on yourself makes you more dedicated to the practice. Make it a habit to think about things often. Set aside time every day or week to think about yourself. As a way to reflect, write in a notebook, meditate, or just be still and think. To get the most out of self-reflection, you need to be consistent with it. Ask deep, important questions. Ask yourself things like, what did I learn today? What could I have done better? Also, how did I feel in certain situations? These questions make you think more deeply and help you find trends in how you act and think. Answering these questions can give you useful information that you can use to make yourself better. Be honest and don't judge others. When you think about yourself, be honest and open, and see both your strengths and places where you could improve. Don't be hard on yourself when you think. Instead, see them as chances to grow. This attitude of not judging creates a safe place for honest self-exploration. Set goals and make a plan to get better. Set clear, attainable goals based on what you learn about yourself when you think. Make action plans to fix things that need to be fixed and to encourage good behavior. Review and change these goals on a regular basis based on ongoing thoughts to make sure you keep growing. Self-reflection can be a life-changing process if you add these habits to your daily life. They can help you become more self-aware, improve your mental health, and make you happier in general. Rule number 7. Accept what happens. Accept the things that fate has tied you to and love the people that fate has brought you together with. But do it with all your heart. Marcus Aurelius said that the Stoic rule of taking what happens should be summed up. This acceptance isn't about being passive. It's about facing life's events with calm resilience, knowing that the only thing we can really control is how we react to them. For example, when a small town was hit by an unexpected flood, the people didn't give up. Instead, they accepted the truth of the situation with courage and worked together to rebuild, finding strength and even joy in their shared efforts and resilience. Their story shows how important it is to accept others, making a terrible event into a powerful way to bring people together. Big toe. Someone once said, "Don't try to make things happen the way you want them to. Instead, want them to happen the way they do, and your life will go well." This way of thinking helps us match our wants with reality, lowering our anger and making us feel more at peace. How do you handle situations where things don't go as planned? When did accepting something as it was help you understand it better or give you rewards you didn't expect? Adopting this Stoic knowledge can have a big impact on our happiness and success. When we accept what happens, we let go of the stress of resistance and let life flow through us, creating a state of peace and effectiveness. Please share your stories with acceptance in the comments below. How has accepting what can't be changed your life for the better? This conversation isn't just about making people less sensitive to other people's feelings. It's also about making people more resilient, happy, and highly adaptable in their outlook on life. Rule number 8. Develop empathy. Being able to understand and share someone else's feelings is a basic Stoic practice that makes our relationships stronger and our humanity deeper. Developing empathy helps us see things from other people's points of view and connect with them in meaningful ways. For example, a doctor who treats symptoms and tries to understand his patient's fears and concerns is practicing empathy. Being able to connect with them on a human level not only eases their anxiety but also builds trust, which leads to better patient outcomes. This shows that caring goes beyond being emotionally aware isn't enough. You have to actively interact with other people's emotional landscapes to create a helpful and understanding space. Sebastian taught that wherever there is a person, there is a chance to be kind. People who are Stoic believe that empathy has the power to change people's lives and bring harmony to communities. By practicing empathy, we develop a deeper sense of compassion and a willingness to act without expecting anything in return. These are qualities that are necessary for a peaceful and fulfilling life. How often do you try to truly understand the people around you? What might happen in your relationship if you deepened your empathy? Adding empathy to our daily lives makes our lives richer and more connected. It teaches us to respond not with indifference but with insight, which improves our interactions and helps us live lives full of kindness and understanding. As Marcus Aurelius said, "To feel affection for people even when they make mistakes is uniquely human." Let this lead us to a more empathetic way of life that promotes peace, happiness, and success. Being able to understand and share someone else's thoughts is a very important skill in both personal and professional situations. It helps us get to know each other better, build important relationships, and make a place where people can help each other and work together. To develop empathy, you have to listen, watch, and reply to other people with care and sensitivity. In today's linked world, empathy is more important than ever because it makes people feel welcome, lowers tension, and improves health in general. Reading and listening. Active listening means paying full attention, learning, responding, and then remembering what is being said. It shows that you care about what the other person says and feels, which helps build trust and confidence. Practice. Pay attention to the person speaking without talking over them. Explain what they're saying to make sure you understand and ask open-ended questions to get people to talk more. Taking a look at things. Perspective taking means being able to see things from someone else's point of view. It's important because it helps you understand the feelings and thoughts that are behind other people's actions, which leads to better conversation and fewer arguments. Practicing. Imagine yourself in someone else's place by thinking about their past, present, and future. Think about how you would feel if you were in their shoes. Communication without words. Face expressions, body language, movements, and tone of voice are all forms of nonverbal communication. Meaning, it often shows feelings and goals more clearly than words, which helps people understand how they feel even when they don't say it. Practice. Look at other people's body language and think about what they might be saying. Make sure that your body language is friendly and open. Being emotionally intelligent, EQ. Emotional intelligence means being able to notice, understand, control, and reason with other people's and your own emotions. Why it's important. Having a high EQ helps you get along with others, communicate clearly, and solve problems. Practice. Think about your feelings and responses to become more self-aware. Manage how you react to stressful scenarios to improve your self-regulation. Acting with compassion. To act with compassion, you must not only feel sorry for other people, but also take action to help them. It builds stronger communities and connections by showing that you care about and support the well-being of others. Do nice things for other people, help them when you see them in need, and speak up for their rights and well-being. Recognize and validate other people's feelings and offer help. Having empathy is an important skill that helps us connect with others, understand their problems, and treat them with kindness. We can build stronger, more meaningful connections and do good things in our communities by practicing active listening, understanding other points of view, nonverbal communication, emotional intelligence, and compassionate action. Developing empathy not only makes our relationships better, but it also makes the world a better place for everyone. Rule number 9, maintain perspective. Imagine if seeing your biggest problems as small parts of a bigger story could make you stronger and smarter. This is what it means to keep things in perspective. An important part of being patient that helps us see our problems in a bigger picture that has a big impact on how we feel and act. This idea is strongly shown by the story of Admiral James Stockdale, who was a prisoner of war in the Vietnam War. Stockdale locked up Ed for 7 years in horrible conditions, and he used Stoic principles to get through it. He later said that keeping a broad view of his position was what kept him alive. He didn't just think about his immediate pain or the fact that he didn't know when he would be freed. Instead, he saw his experience as part of a bigger picture that he could change by how he responded. Stockdale's experience and how he used Stoic wisdom show how keeping things in perspective can make you strong and able to handle even the worst situations. Epictetus once said that what counts is not what happens to you, but how you deal with it. This idea is at the heart of keeping things in perspective. It tells us to look past the current chaos and act with fairness and insight. Think about your own life. When you're in a tough situation, do you get caught up in the small details? Or do you try to see how these events fit into a bigger picture? What would you be able to do if you saw every problem as an important part of your journey through life? Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Adopting this Stoic rule can greatly change how we understand and respond to life's ups and downs, leading us to a more peaceful and meaningful existence. Realize this, and you will find strength. Let's continue this thought. How will keeping a bigger picture change how you deal with upcoming problems? In our never-ending quest to become better, Stoicism gives us a strategy that is both useful and deep. This is the last strategy we look at in our personal development. Journey today, rule number 10. Get ready for trouble. This philosophical rule tells us to keep thinking about possible problems and practicing our responses in our minds so that we can face them with calmness and foresight. The life of the Stoic philosopher Marcus Rufus is a great example of this practice. He was exiled and going through a lot of personal and political trouble, but he used his training to stay calm and keep teaching even though things were hard. His life shows how important it is to be ready for problems and practice how to deal with them. By doing this, people can turn possible crises into chances to grow as people and become stronger. Seneca. Another famous Stoic philosopher summed up this way of thinking when he said, "He who has anticipated the coming of troubles takes away their power when they arrive." This advice shows how important it is to mentally prepare for trouble, not as a negative acceptance of fate, but as a way to lessen the effects of future shocks. Imagine how different our lives would be if we took this proactive approach. Instead of being caught off guard by setbacks, we could face them with a clear head and a steady heart. By adopting this Stoic practice, we push ourselves to plan ahead and come up with thoughtful solutions to possible problems. This not only softens the blow when bad things happen, but it also improves our general health by giving us a sense of control and readiness. As Marcus Aurelius said, what stands in the way of action becomes the way of action. Adopt this way of thinking to not only get through life's challenges, but to thrive in them, finding peace, happiness, and success through preparation. As we come to the end of our look at the 10 Stoic rules for life, we are reminded of the profound wisdom that the ancient Stoics shared. These rules, which are based on reason and self-mastery, are not just abstract ideas, they are also useful tools for building emotional strength. It's more like fighting than dancing in the art of living. Marcus Aurelius once said that, to get through life, you have to be active and flexible, not just survive. By applying these Stoic ideas to our daily lives, we can boost our inner strength and handle life's difficulties with grace and fairness. Let us then try to put these lessons into practice, creating a life full of peace, happiness, and deep humanity. Take these lessons to heart and change how you deal with the complicated world of emotions. If you think these lessons are helpful, please let us know which Stoic principles you like best in the comments below. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of our other journeys. Goodbye and see you soon.